Live welcome from above and Batman Beyond. We are live on our YouTube channel. I am your co-host, Benjamin David. What is up, Neo Gotham? And speaking of live, today's episode is another installment of our live action live series here in the channel, where we talk all about DC news in live action. As you know, we focus mainly on animation here on the channel, but both Batman Beyond and DC animated movies. But anytime there's big news in DC live action, we now have this series to cover just that. And for Bat fans in particular, it's been a super exciting week for live action news because we just got a press release and character designs for a Batman 89 comic. I cannot believe this is coming out. This is something many a Bat fan have wanted for years. And, now we're getting it. And from the character designs that have been released, it also looks like we'll be getting some Beyond influence as well as Batman the Animated Series influence on the upcoming comic. So that comic drops digital first, at DC this July, along with a Superman 78 comic for the Superman fans out there. Speaking of Superman, today we'll also be covering the Supergirl casting announced just this week. Finally, unbelievably badass Mortal Kombat trailer from WB. So today's episode will also be available in audio podcast form, just like the YouTube channel. We are above and Batman Beyond. So before we jump into it, if you're new here at the channel, please consider subscribing on YouTube. Click that notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content. And for the podcast listeners, please subscribe to the pod. You can find the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And for both the pod and YouTube audience, please subscribe to both, since there's plenty of YouTube stuff you're obviously not going to find on the podcast, and vice versa. Please also follow us on Instagram. We are at Batman Beyond Media, and we do frequent polls and Q's and A's, which we also bring into the YouTube and podcast shows. So be sure to follow us there as well. All right, guys. So let's go live action live, baby. Oh, man, this is an exciting weekend. Thank you for bearing with us there with the delay. Still getting kind of used to going live. Also, a quick update on that. I do have much better sound equipment. Like if you listen to the podcast form of this, sound is a whole lot better. It's just a matter of figuring out the testing of it and, testing the better sound equipment. Also, camera, I have a GoPro, so I'm hoping to get that hooked up pretty soon. This will all be a little bit improved, as well as obviously my performance / timing here. But we all have learning curves, right? So again, the main news items we'll be hitting today: Batman 89 comic and Beyond BTAS influence, Supergirl casting in the 2022 Flash movie, also featuring Michael Keaton, which also has a possible Batman Beyond influence, or I should say type story to it. And finally, the Mortal Kombat trailer. Mortal Kombat! Oh, man. So effing pumped for that. So let's jump into the 89/78 IGN article. So I pulled this from IGN. It's talking all about the Batman 89 comic as well as the Superman 78 comic. Now, we're obviously bigger Bat fans here, so I'm not going to talk as much about the Superman 78 comic, but it is cool. I mean, speaking of live action news, we kind of do have to cover it. Even though they're comics, they're obviously spun out of these classic live action movies. So from IGN, DC Comics is expanding on two of the most iconic superhero movie universes of all time in 2021. Today, the publisher, so this article is actually from the 17th. Today recording this is February 22nd. So this is from 2/17. So today, the publisher announced Superman 78 and Batman 89, which chronicle the further adventures of Christopher Reeve's Superman and Michael Keaton's Batman. So both titles are similar. This is still from IGN. Both titles are similar to DC's previous Batman 66 and Wonder Woman 77 comics, if you've read those, in that they're both digital first titles set in these cinematic universes and featuring the likenesses of characters involved. So we're going to talk about, we're going to get to in a second, the character designs, which that's where I'm seeing the Beyond influence and the BTAS influence. But you'll also see the likeness of Michael Keaton, which is just absolutely incredible. So first we're going to do the IGN article explaining the 89/78 comics. Then we'll talk about the character design. And then we'll talk about Joe Quinones himself, who is the artist on this book, and how I personally met him. I also have a piece of art to show you signed by Quinones. So that is exciting stuff. Let's see if anybody's on chat before we continue. Nobody on chat. That's okay. Again, still a little new here on the live situation. And yes, we're recording audio. All right, good to always double check that stuff if you are live content creators. All right, so back to the IGN article. I mean, so it's saying, fittingly, Batman 89 is drawn by, once again, Joe Quinones, who famously pitched DC. So he had pitched this years ago, I believe like 7 years ago. DC didn't approve the pitch at the time, but he did post art on his website. So everyone was like, is this thing going to come? Like, you know, everyone's wanted it, obviously, for a while. For us, of course, an animated movie would be like the be-all, end-all for this. But look, a comic could be the thing that, you know, gets the attention for that. That's what everybody's been talking about, you know, podcasts, YouTube wide, is like, if these comics hit, why not do, you know, animated movies out of them? So just, I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but once again, Quinones, the big update on the 17th, Quinones has posted some Batman 89 concept art on his Twitter account, as well as his Instagram. Follow him. He spells it Kwinones. But to scroll down to kind of the press release type stuff. So just to give you some specifics here, both Batman 89 and Superman 78 will run for 12 digital chapters. The first 6 chapters of both series will launch on July 27th. So that close enough, man. I mean, that's coming up. With new chapters following once a week for the next 6 weeks. So 6 are going to drop all at once digital. And then again, new chapters following once a week. If you are a hardcover person or a print issues collecting 2 chapters each will be published between August and October 2021. This is where I am crazy pumped, with hardcover collections to follow in October for Batman 89, in November for Superman 78. And this is going to tie into what we're talking about next after this, because again, we're going to be talking about the Flash movie featuring Michael Keaton, featuring some potential Beyond stuff, or Beyond type stuff in that, with the Supergirl casting. But so again, this is still IGN. The timing of the Batman 89 announcement is intriguing, given that Keaton is reportedly preparing to reprise the Batman role in the upcoming Flash movie. Could this series help fill in some of the missing gaps in the Batman 89 timeline? Assuming the book is successful, we can only hope DC will announce a follow-up project that will more directly set the stage for the older Bruce Wayne of the Flash. So, you know, the obvious thing for the Flash movie that we're going to get to is that it's an older Bruce Wayne. What's interesting about this 89 comic is that it takes place, it's also been established that it takes place after the events of Return. So it's not literally 89, because Returns was 92. But it is, you know, just called, it's like the 89 verse, essentially. What I like about that, though, what we'll get to now, I guess one more specific here. So this is the other exciting thing. I am a writer. From writing perspective, and from even if you're not a writer or a big person on writing, like Sam Hamm, who is the original screenwriter of Batman 89, is writing this comic. So, like, beside getting Burton himself, like, this is as 89 as it gets. Quinones is an amazing artist. Again, we'll talk about in a minute how I met him at Boston Fan Expo. I'm going to show you a piece from him, but he does a lot of stuff. He loves, you know, BTAS. He loves kind of not just comic Batman, but stuff that's come out in animation, TV, obviously now with movies. So, and he also did like a Batman The Adventures Continue cover. A lot of people said it looked like a Super Nintendo cover, which is pretty funny. But he's just this incredible digital artist. I think his digital art style is good for if you're doing live action, to get a more live action feel from it, since you can kind of bring about a little more realism perhaps digitally. So I'm really excited for him as the artist. But again, Sam Hamm as the writer, like, that is so damn dope. So let's get to some of these character designs, because this is the thing that, like, this is what I thought really made the excuse. I was going to do this for live action live anyway, but I was like, oh, there's also Beyond influence. So for the video, for those of you watching this episode on video, this is the cover for Batman 89. Again, I'm going to do a lot of improvements here with hopefully getting like a zoom I'm going to be able to go on here with Zoom so you can see my screen sharing and shit. But for now, just look at this on my tablet. For the audio listeners, we're just looking at the cover. Amazing Batman 89 logo, the gold. I mean, the gold brings me right back to being a 4-year-old. This is 4-year-old Benjamin right here flipping out looking at this cover. Apparently they went into like the archives of the old logo, like whatever they stored those things on, and like really literally adapted the logo as close as they could from the movie. And just Keaton swooping in, cape out. That is just absolutely unbelievably gorgeous. I am so damn excited for this. Now, to get to Beyond, let's look at this, guys. So these two here, we know these two, the Didi twins. Whoop, we don't want to see comments. Cancel. The Didi twins, right? So if you haven't seen some of this concept art, this wasn't one of the ones like mainly featured. It was like you had to kind of swipe right on Quinones's kind of Instagram and Google imaging a lot of the concept art from it. You didn't catch the Didi twins here, but this is definitely DD89. Like it is, they have the orange hair, they're twins, but it's 89 style. Like, you got on their hats, it has like the Joker. It looks like the like kind of the Jack Nicholson Joker hats that what was it, Bob the Goon rocked, or one of his guys in 89. I love that they have crowbars, much like, I think that's a callback, of course, to, or maybe a nod to Death in the Family Joker with the crowbar. And yeah, I mean, that's, and the boots, the red go-go boots, those are the Didi twins, 89. I mean, I love that so damn much. And then to the left of them is actually Prince. I mean, that is straight up from the Prince. He did the soundtrack and that music video and performance, and like that is the Prince in the 89 looking. So to fully explain, if you haven't seen it, and for the audio, it's essentially the Joker's gang after Joker died in 89. It's cool that they're writing it in. That's probably there's this Joker's gang. The Didis were part of that Joker's gang, and I think that's a really cool freaking thing to do. Like, why not? It's not like you have to literally do the DD twins. It's not like you have to have had a actual Harley Quinn in your continuity. Although maybe they could even write that. Who the hell knows? But it's just cool to take these awesome design influences and go like, again, why the hell not? So here's the other thing why I said BTAS influence. Well, there's actually two things here. So one is Harvey Bullock. This stupid tablet's driving me nuts. But one of them is Harvey Bullock, which people were like, oh, that's probably, from animated series influence. And that could definitely be a thing. But Harvey Bullock, I'm pretty sure is also in comics and stuff. Don't quote me on that. But the Harvey Bullock stuff is not exactly what I think is exactly like, for sure, pulling from the animated series. What is pulling from the animated series? And again, this tablet is driving me nuts. It's one of these laptop / touchscreen tablets. But the point is that in one of the character designs we see, he flat out. So again, this is combining the aesthetics of 89 Returns and animated series. And, so you get like the symbol of Returns, and the suit is mostly 89. But then you have the white eyes from animated series. And like it also flat out said, this was cool. Like I didn't see this until today. It flat out says like 89, or sorry, it flat out says Batman the Animated Series. Like this will be a blend of Returns. Sorry, with this stupid tablet dying. Now I'm all thrown off here. But it says it combined 89 Returns and animated series. Here's what it says. He actually writes it next to the design in one of the design pics that I saw today. And shout out at Burton's Gotham on Instagram. Yeah, the costume blends 89 Returns and BTAS. Like he flat out wrote that on this little design thing. Returns aesthetics with BTAS. I mean, oh my God, like that is just so damn cool to do that, because you can really just retcon whatever the hell you want, right? I mean, we're 30 years plus after Returns. There's all this stuff to pull from, even from Beyond. I never saw that coming, and also the fact that, you know, I heard a big thing about getting Jack Nicholson's likenesses is really difficult. He doesn't give away his likeness for shit. So it's cool that if this Joker died, you could do like a Joker's Gang thing, like you did in Beyond, but it's just the Joker's Gang 89. You get your DD twins, you get your Prince type Joker in this Joker's Gang. And one of the guys looked like Dark Knight Returns. There's some Dark Knight Returns influence there with the way he had that like weird looking visor. I thought that was really dope. So yeah, man, I like this comic I'm not like the biggest 89 fan, but the 89 aesthetics, of course, go into, oh, and I'm sorry. Again, I'm like bouncing around here because of my tablet issues there. But one of the other things that's definitely BTAS influence is the brown blazer, the brown suit and the yellow shirt. It looks exactly like the kind of suit that Bruce would wear in the animated series. Like, you know, BTAS, not even New Adventures, but when he rocks that brown suit with the yellow, I mean, it's just very BTAS. The other cool thing, if you're a collector, shout out to our DC Collecticast show here in the network. And one of them is, I forget the name of the figure, but the Under Armour / plug suit, it says, that Bruce wears under his costume. But yeah, that is one of the action figures. And it was like a Bruce Wayne action figure from the Returns line. And he's brought that into this. The other cool thing that's Beyond-esque here is he's got gray streaks in his hair in these character designs from Quinones. And like, that is definitely an older Bruce Wayne. Again, chronologically, they're setting it after the events of Return. So he's going to be older. If we're getting almost like just pre-Rebirth era, not comics Rebirth, but like first 2 episodes of Beyond Rebirth era Keaton, come on, man. Like, that is exciting shit. This is all just, and who knows, like if you keep expanding this universe, we might just get like Keaton Beyond. And the fact that once again, like this could tie in with the upcoming Flash movie. You know, if we're gonna get an older Keaton, which we'll talk about once again with the Supergirl casting, if there is some kind of the fact that we're getting an older Bruce Wayne once again is like, maybe that's some Beyond stuff going on there. If this could fill in some of the blanks of, once again, like a pre-Rebirth era of 89, like how damn cool is all this? Oh, can't wait. So what I'm going to show you now, and you know, for the audio listeners, I will explain it. This is a piece of art from Joe Quinones. It is Hard Act Batman from the classic episode His Silicon Soul. So this is he didn't commission this for me. I met Joe Quinones at Boston Fan Expo 2018, I believe. Yeah, 2018. This piece he did this in 2017. So it wasn't a commission, but he had these like for sale on his table when I met him. Super cool dude, couldn't have been cooler. And I was like, Hard Act Batman, sold. Batman meets the Terminator, why I like Beyond and stuff. You know, Hard Act's obviously a classic version of the Bat, and I have the Hard Act Funko Pop, and yeah, man, His Silicon Soul is just such a beautiful, weird, scary episode of Batman the Animated Series, and this piece is gorgeous. It got a whole bunch of likes on our Instagram, and it's signed by Quinones. So he could not have been a cooler dude. A lot of his stuff, once again, was animated series inspired. I don't know if he had, I'm sure if he had Beyond pieces, I would have bought it, because when every con I went to over the past couple of years, I hunt for Beyond, which if you're a collector, actually gives me a lot less anxiety, because it's like, oh, I have a thing to focus on, and not like if you try to take it all in, it just gives you too much anxiety at a con. So I'm like, well, walk away from Star Wars, walk away from just anything that's animated, go toward that, and that helps me a lot. Batman animation is my kind of my, what do they call that? A signpost in the middle of a fog, that type of thing. So yeah, man, this Batman 89 shit, this comic, I've already said it. It's like so exciting for Beyond fans, for animated series fans, and for people who I don't know if I quite covered this, but like I'm not the biggest 89 fan, but it's so much like of the animated series / Beyond kind of influence, and the fact that like it's kind of 89 unleashed, right? Because you have, or even tighter than that, like unleashed would kind of imply that, you have a 3-hour movie that you could do. Like this is just going to be tight stories that takes place in one of the most aesthetically beautiful versions of Batman we've ever gotten. The production design of for Gotham City specifically, all those Anton Furst gorgeous designs won the Academy Award in 1989 from the Batman movie. Like, I don't have to sell you the aesthetics on how good 89 and Returns are. So I think it'll be a cool way. Point is, even for like an 89 / Returns, not hugely enthusiastic for those, it's still the nostalgia of having, that was my live action Batman as a kid. Then you have all the cool elements of it, because as an animated series and Beyond guy, once again, it's like, obviously I love the aesthetic and the music of 89 and Returns. To boil that down into like 12 tight stories that again might tie into this upcoming Flash movie, like holy shit, this is really cool stuff. So yeah, man, that is the Batman 89 news. And this is still live action live, so we'll talk about the Superman 78 stuff. Superman 78, meanwhile, is a collaboration between Hawkman writer Robert Venditti and Batman 66 artist Wilfredo Torres. The series is set fairly early in the Man of Steel's costume career, before Lois Lane uncovers Clark's secret. Superman 78 explores how the citizens of Metropolis come to grips with the discovery that a man can fly. It's unknown whether the series will introduce new takes on familiar Superman villains. And there is art by Wilfredo Torres from DC Comics that's released. And again, this is all from that IGN article. And just like the Batman 89 comic, it's Superman 78 is going to run for 12 digital chapters. First 6 chapters of both 89 and 78 will launch on July 27th. New chapters following once a week for the next 6 weeks. That's pretty interesting to just drop 6 issues of anything all at once. So they're both going to hit July 27th. I am not a Superman 78 guy remotely. I'll admit it, I'm not. But if you're a fan of both of these things, which a lot of people are, that's July 27th is your day. So yeah, man. Batman 89 comics, and the more art that gets released, the more news that goes along with. Obviously, when the comic itself drops, we're going to do a ton of episodes, or a bunch, I should say, a ton of coverage on it. Definitely an episode devoted to it. So stay tuned here at Live Action Live. All right, cool. So real quick, before we continue, a quick plug for our DC Animated Movie Show podcast, because speaking of live action / animation, which is what we cover mostly here, there is an Aquaman animated series coming to HBO Max. And if you follow us at Batman Beyond Media, I just posted the art to it, which I think also dropped this week. It was pretty new news. People are not liking it, and I am one of those people. It is not what we expected. It was supposed to have been, and still is supposed to be, apparently, taking place between Aquaman 1 and 2, the 2018 billion-dollar live-action movie with Jason Momoa. And like 18 months ago, they said, hey, we're going to have this animated series coming up, or it might be a mini-series. It turns out to be a 3-episode mini-series coming to HBO Max once again. But it's like, if it ties in with the Aquaman movie, why is it not more serious? So if you look at that art at Batman Beyond Media, check it out there. Subscribe to the DC Animated Movie Show on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. And we'll be going live tonight on our channel's Instagram. Again, that's at Batman Beyond Media. So follow us there as well. The whole episode will be available in vid form. I'm going to leave the whole episode up on our IGTV. It looks like almost like Teen Titans. Someone said it looks like Aquaman Go, like Teen Titans Aquaman Go. It's that exact kind of Steven Universe. There was another show, Thundercats Roar. I mean, I don't understand why it's in that tone at all. Or it's like, if you want to do an Aquaman kid series, that's great, but then don't announce that it's going to be part of that universe. James Wan is producing it. Everyone's confused. So I'm going to get a lot deeper into that. And there was a bunch of really funny Q&A, a lot of engagement, for better or worse, on that at Batman Media. So thank you guys so much if you were one of the people who engaged, and we'll be talking about that. All right, so before we move on, let's see if we have anybody else in chat. Nobody else? All right, so moving on, the Flash movie / Supergirl casting. So before we get into the exact casting, this movie has allegedly begun filming. Not that anyone believes that, because there's supposed to have been a Flash movie like 5 or 6 different times. But no, I mean, quite honestly, this is the most development that's ever come out. This movie's going to happen. So the 2022 Flash movie is still untitled, but the director Andy Muschietti of It fame, he did It's chapter. He did the It movies, chapters 1 and 2, and I'm excited for this Flash movie. So what, again, is very exciting for us as Beyond fans is that we're getting an older Michael Keaton, who recently, and a plug for our Live Action Live, another episode of Live Action Live here on the channel that we talked all about with Eli, our co-host here, like that there was extra news after the original announcement from Fandom a couple months back, or maybe even just a month ago, that Michael Keaton is apparently set to be the main DCEU Batman, which from that, everyone's assuming like at least 3 movies, not just a cameo, right? Because at first it's like, maybe they're just going to get a cameo from him. Everyone's almost positive where it's probably just going to be a cameo of Batfleck in that movie. And Flashpoint is also, the director Muschietti said, like, it's probably going to be a Flashpoint story. So, you know, all exciting shit. But then what drops is and then the old Bruce Wayne thing with Michael Keaton. That's what, once again, like, everyone's thinking some Beyond influence there. There were, you know, rumors about a Batgirl possibly being in it, or maybe the Flash will be kind of like a Terry McGinnis type character. I'm really hoping, you know, not to get too deep into that, I guess we could talk about it in just a second, but kind of the Beyond stuff aside, I hope he's just like an older mentor type thing to these other characters. But, you know, kind of speaking of mentor and younger characters, what was announced just a few days ago is that we're getting Supergirl in this movie. Now, that wasn't even, there was no talk of Supergirl prior to this announcement, and it was adorable. There was a video of Sasha Calle is her name, and she who has been cast. She's Colombian and was born in Boston, but she's Colombian. So, you know, it's not your blonde hair, blue eye Kara L. It's going to be I'm assuming they're doing Kara. But yeah, they're doing a woman of color. She's Latina, and I am all about it. Like, anyone from Krypton can be any color. Of course, people online were bitching that she's not blonde hair, and it's like, to get into minority casting is almost pointless, although we probably have to if we're talking about it. But yeah, man, I am excited about this. It's like, you know, if this movie, especially for this type of movie, because a lot of people, the other criticism is, oh, it's overstuffed. So I'm all over the place. Because of my excitement, the Sasha Calle video was Andy Muschietti, the director, is talking with Sasha Calle, and he, I think, is Argentinian. And he was talking, or maybe it's Argentine, how you say it, I forget. But he's speaking some Spanish to her, and then he's like, hey, so it's a Zoom call, and he's like, hey, so can you fly? And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, I just want to make sure you can fly so you can wear this. And he pulls up the suit, like the Henry Cavill suit. It looked like straight off the screen, like, you know, he got it from the WB archives, and it was this gorgeous DCEU Superman suit. And, you know, she's flipping out, and he's like, because you are Supergirl. It was an amazing video to see. Mark Bernard on the Fat Man Beyond show pointed out, he's like, you know, what did he say? He's like, now we're in this chapter of time where, like, you're seeing thus far, you know, conversations of people reacting to things and film history happening because all of these meetings are on camera. that you never would have seen before. So, you know, finding out you're Supergirl, that never would have been recorded before. So it is cool. I agree about that. As weird as this whole Zoom world is, like, to capture that in live action is pretty dope. So here's the criticism that I kind of reject. Like, I don't think this movie is going to be what people are saying, overstuffed. Like, sure, it could be overstuffed if it was just a Flash movie, but as we know, it's a Flashpoint type movie. If you're having and that's from the director, that's not rumors. Flashpoint is a DC Universe movie. And someone said on a podcast perfectly today, it's like, sure, you wanted a Flash movie, but just because it's not, meaning like Flash is rogues and it's Central City and he's an investigator, you know, what is it, a CSI type guy. This is a DCU movie. It's a DC Universe movie. I have no problem with that either. Like, if you see comics and you see these animated movies, Flashes or any one character is usually only one of, if not an ensemble, there's just a lot of other DC characters. These are the people who fill this universe. It's like having any other type of satellite character. And that's how she could be in this. Like, she doesn't have to be a main character. So I don't have the feeling that this is going to be like overstuffed. I also think that whatever the hell is going on with Henry Cavill Superman, you know, we're going to get him in Zack Snyder's Justice League and stuff, but that's a death of Superman story. There's been no announcements of a Superman movie in production. So while they iron that shit out, yeah, why not have Supergirl? And a lot of people are also going like, oh, well, we don't have Superman, so you're going to introduce Supergirl without him around? It's like, she's, again, another character in the DC universe. Like, why does she need, not just like, why does she need a man? Like, why does she need her cousin to be around to be introduced? I think it's totally believable. You could even do, like, he could still be, you know, well, he wouldn't be dead unless this is set between the events of Man of Steel and BVS where he dies. Who the hell knows? Or I should say BVS and Justice League before he comes back. So he could be dead, and it's like, you know, she comes, and write it in however the hell you want. The other fun thing is that this is a multiverse story. This Flash movie is opening the multiverse. You know, you don't have to be beholden to either DCAU or any other continuity that you've set up because, again, it's a multiverse. So, yeah, man, I'm super excited about this. I have nothing but positive things to say because I also just have a really good feeling about this movie, not just because of the Beyond stuff, but the way that they've talked about Flash opening. He's the perfect character to open the multiverse. The multiverse is what, you know, any DC fan with sense has wanted for years from these live action movies. Like, screw it. Like, we don't need continuity. You don't need to explain to people who Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are. You don't need to play the Marvel thing of like, all right, now we need to tell you who Iron Man is. I mean, no one before Iron Man, 2008's Iron Man, knew who the hell Iron Man was. Like, they had to teach us who those characters were, and they had played the long game of setting all that up. You don't have to introduce this Trinity. You know, speaking of these old ass comics and movies, or comics based on old ass movies, like Wonder Woman 77, Superman 78, Batman 89. I mean, these have been in these characters. The Trinity's been in the zeitgeist forever at this point, and not just comics. So, like, do the hell out of the multiverse. Once again, Flash is perfect, and bringing another character into this type of movie. Again, if it was just like our first Flash movie ever, or our first, you know, I don't know, if it was somehow like the synopsis was out there that if it was just a Flash movie, then all of a sudden there's Batman casting, and then there's another Batman casting, and then there's a Supergirl casting. You know, two Batman and a Supergirl in a Flash movie is not that many characters. Or sorry, in a Flash multiverse movie, a Flashpoint movie, it's not that many characters. Like, if you know the story of Flashpoint, which I don't think they're going full in on because that's like a DC universe wide project. And here's my other thing. Like, in fact, that was one of my initial worries, that this wasn't like, we don't have enough characters. Like, two Batmen isn't enough to have a Flashpoint movie. Whereas if it is, and you know, even if it's not directly a Justice League Flashpoint movie, a Flashpoint story, a multiverse story, requires a lot of characters so that you can kind of illustrate. Yeah, there would be more than one Batman. It's how you show what a multiverse means, is that you have more than one of a thing. Whatever event happens with the Flash ripping through, this Supergirl could be from a different universe. She could also just be Henry Cavill's cousin, from Krypton. Why not? So I'm all about it. Sasha Calle she looks great. She's from The Young and the Restless, because, Bat fans, we all watch that. But yeah, she is from The Young and the Restless, and I don't mind that she's kind of a no-name either. There's nothing wrong with casting someone young and giving him a kind of a first chance at bat. It's also cheap for studios, so they always love that. But no, I mean, seriously, it's I have nothing but cool things or good things to say about this casting. So let us know what you think at Batman Beyond Media, or if you're here in chat joining us, let us know. And again, that movie has begun filming, apparently, which, believe it when I see it. But I guess to wrap up that one point before we get to the Mortal Kombat trailer real quick, on the Beyond side of things, this is also interesting. Like, if Michael Keaton, obviously he is going to play an older Bruce Wayne, be it old Bruce as we know him from Beyond, he just by virtue of him being older, he's going to function as a mentor type character. So this might just play into that side of Beyond, right? Is that it might not be a Batman Beyond or a Supergirl Beyond for that matter, or anything like that, but just the fact that you have old Bruce there as a mentor, it's cool to get another young character in there, I think, to kind of contrast with this older Batman. And especially if you're setting it up for him as this main DCEU Batman, if he's going to be for the next at least 2 to 3 movies, everyone's thinking, based on that recent news, I think it's cool to get like another younger character. I mean, obviously the Batfleck thing's cool, but like I said, that's probably just going to be a cameo. Everyone's kind of assuming that, myself included. I'm not a huge Ezra Miller Flash guy, so the whole thing is like, the more people they announce from the DC universe, the more excited I'll be, just so he gets less. No, I'm kidding. It's not just Ezra Miller either. I don't like the suit. I don't like any of that. But to wrap it up with that point, if it's a multiverse movie, more characters the better. And I'm extra interested now in seeing a younger, once again, character relate to old Bruce Wayne. I think it's going to be dope. All right, baby. Mortal Kombat. Oh my God. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to watch this trailer so you guys can get to see my reaction live. Just to give you some background, once again, the trailer for this dropped this week. This is a Warner Brothers movie. Warner Brothers has the rights to, the video game rights to NetherRealm Studios, Mortal Kombat. This franchise goes way the hell back. I had the original Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis. ABA CABB is the blood code. And at first I was like, is this really something that we can sell on a Beyond show? This live series we have here. It's not Beyond, of course. It's not even Batman. But what I think is kind of applicable with this live thing is it's stuff that's getting adapted into live action. It was a video game, and obviously, and now it's getting a live action adaptation, and it's Warner Brothers. So there you go. There's my loophole. But yeah, this is one of the movies that is going to come out day and date. I don't even know if it's going to be in theaters, but it's, Warner Brothers announced months ago that, and I think we did an episode on it, that like their entire slate in 2021 is dropping on HBO Max day and date. So whatever comes out in theaters that same day, also available on HBO Max. Mortal Kombat being one of them, and I believe it comes out April. Yeah, April. So I'm gonna watch it and talk about it, pause throughout. I'm not gonna do a huge thing on this because, again, this is a bit of a deviation from what we normally. Do you want to play this video? This video may be inappropriate for some users. Oh, I wish to proceed.
Bring futures into focus by planning a trip that inspires.
So I skipped right to the red. Yes, good. I was about to say this better be the Red Band trailer. Go to the Red Band trailer because wow, is this movie bloody as shit and graphic. You know, I mean, ultra violence is. Oh, and the other thing that I think my other loophole to talk about this is that the Mortal Kombat animated movie that came out last year, so Scorpion's Revenge, unbelievably good movie. And like specifically, I couldn't believe how well written it was. I mean, they do this backstory slash forward story, whatever you want to call it, like full on story for Scorpion that is beautiful. And it's written by Jeremy Adams, who also wrote Batman Soul of the Dragon, which we covered the hell out of here on the channel and our DC Animated Movie Show podcast. We did a crossover commentary on that with my co-host Eli Benson. Follow him at Batman_Beyond_fan page. My Beyond expert and close friend here at the channel. He and I did a commentary crossing over between the above podcast and the DC Animated Movie Show. The writer of that, we praised the writing throughout that whole commentary. The writer of that, Jeremy Adams, he wrote that. He wrote the MK movie that came out last year, and he also wrote the upcoming Batman Soul of the Dragon, the upcoming Justice Society World War II movie that's coming out, I believe, in May or April, which we actually did the trailer reaction for that on last episode of the DCAMS podcast. But that I also thought was worth mentioning just because I'm telling you, like, I don't think this movie's going to be close to as well written as that or any of the dialogue. I hope a live action Mortal Kombat movie, give me like 2 minutes of dialogue throughout this whole bitch. I don't need more than that. All right, so to go through the trailer.
First learned about this 7 years ago. On a mission in Brazil.
Again, like ultra violence is part of Mortal Kombat, and to watch the Red Band trailer, like I was saying before, it's key here to see what we're gonna get. You know, you open up with they walk into it looks like Jax and Sonya Blade. Jax, while he still has human arms, they are like raiding this place. They look like agents at this point, and they're military. And then, you know, they have guns and they're sneaking around this one place covered in ice. So, you know, it's fucking Sub-Zero. And you see the origin of Jax's arms, bitch. Oh! He tries to shoot Sub-Zero, and Sub-Zero freezes his gun, and then he freezes his arms and explodes them. I mean, dude, like right off the bat. I love the New Line logo getting frozen. You know, they all have birthmarks of the Mortal Kombat thing. I guess that's Liu Kang they're showing right there. Yes, different cultures over the world. See, that's dope. Like it's giving you kind of a reason from each, you know, people would have different backgrounds, like, you know, Sonya Blade's American, Jax is American. So people from all over the world, there's been this legendary Mortal Kombat thing tournament, and you know, then you see the tattoo. I forgot about the tattoo until I rewatched this. You see Scorpion before he's Scorpion. Because he's got the rope thing and he's pulling people in. So the fighting in this, like I forget the name of the one dude who's in April 16th is coming out. I forget the name of the one dude who is in this, but he is a legit martial artist. And a lot of the cast is, and the cast was saying that like throughout the production of this, that this is not only like really good special effects, which it is, the fighting in this, the martial arts. It's obviously a martial arts tournament with this like dark, you know, Asian American magic and shit going on. So like, you know, you expect the effects to be good, but once again, I mean, martial arts, it also better be actual good fighting. And the first one 26 years ago, whenever that was, meh, not so good in the martial arts. Kano, Liu Kang, Sonya, Jax. Jax's arms look amazing. Kung Lao's hat looks amazing. So I'm a Big Trouble Little China obsessor. Raiden, of course, is based directly, as a lot of these characters were based on movie characters from Kung Fu movies. So Big Trouble in Little China, you have Raiden. Johnny Cage is, of course, Van Damme. Liu Kang, Bruce Lee. Experience a new age. Like seeing Scorpion get all literally fired up, surrounding with fire. Dude. Fireballs from Liu Kang's hand, man. Oh, and the dragon that comes out. Goro, four-armed asshole villain Goro, the second to last boss. The pre-boss directly before Shang Tsung. Okay, so this is what everybody's been talking about. Sub-Zero stabs Scorpion. Okay. Blood obviously comes out because it's Mortal Kombat. He freezes his blood, stabs him again. Dude, like, I haven't played every Mortal Kombat game, but I do play the shit out of just the fatalities in MK10 and 11. Like, I just play them over and over because I'm a lazy video gamer. I just like to turn my brain off and not really get into games, or I will get addicted. And this was like, point is, all the fatalities that they've written into all these games, it's like there's almost never been a Mortal Kombat, meaning like how badass these fatalities look. I can't believe they keep coming up with stuff that blows your mind. Like, I'm blown away every new fatality I see, especially the newer MK games. Get over here. Got to do the classic get over here. And that's the music. Mortal Kombat. Like, of course they modernize it, but oh man, dude. And then they go through like a quick montage at the end of like all the different fatalities. Kano wins. Come on, dude. Like, they sold the shit out of that. Again, I don't expect close to the writing that we got from Scorpion's Revenge, the animated movie last year, especially with such a talented writer like Jeremy Adams. I don't care, because this was visually everything I would have wanted, so much better than I expected. It's a trailer. We haven't seen the movie yet, but if that trailer is indicative of anything that we're going to see in this movie, I am fucking in. Sign up, Benjamin. I will, if it's safe to go to theaters at that time, I will go, but my God, bring it. So that is today's episode of Live Action Live. Once again, check out our DC Animated Movie Show podcast for the Aquaman animated mini-series coming to HBO Max with some very questionable looking animation. Subscribe to the DC Animated Movie Show on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. And we're going to be going live on our @BatmanBeyondMedia Instagram. If you're new here at the channel, please consider subscribing on YouTube. Click that notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content. And for the podcast listeners, please subscribe to the pod. You can find the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And for both the pod and YouTube audience, please subscribe to both, since there's plenty of YouTube stuff you're obviously not going to find on the podcast, and vice versa. Please also follow us on Instagram. Once again, we are @BatmanBeyondMedia, and we do frequent polls and Q&As, including today's Aquaman one. Which we also bring into the YouTube channel and podcast shows. So be sure to subscribe there as well. Once again, before we go, thank you for your patience in both being a little late tonight as well as some of the technical shit here. I am going to get screen sharing going so I can show you pictures with much more smoothly. I will be stuttering a lot less because I'll have less shit to worry about. Going live is not as easy as it looks, perhaps. And then also, finally, both sound and video quality definitely improving. I have a GoPro, and I have, if you listen to the podcast versions of Live Action Live and any of the time we go live, sound quality is great. I got the H5 recorder. It's really good sound. So all that is coming. But thank you again for your patience and for going Live Action Live here on Above and Batman Beyond.